Our reading in the shed today is Psalm 57. And again, it's one of those Psalms where the title gives us its historical setting. A Psalm of David when he had fled from Saul into the cave. So I thought we'd read the setting there as we have it in 1 Samuel chapter 22. David left Gath and escaped to the cave of Adullam. When his brothers and his father's household heard about it, they went down to him there. All those who were in distress, or in debt, or discontented, gathered around him, and he became their leader. About 400 men were with him. So that's the setting. And I just imagine what it must have been like for him in a cave with all those people with great need, in distress, in debt, discontent. 400 of them. It must have been very, very difficult for him. And in the midst of all that, we're going to read this psalm. Have mercy on me, O God. Have mercy on me. For in you my soul takes refuge. I will take refuge in the shadow of your wings until the disaster is past. I cry out to God Most High, to God who fulfills his purpose for me. He sends from heaven and saves me, rebuking those who hotly pursue me. God sends his love and his faithfulness. I am in the midst of lions. I lie among ravenous beasts, men whose teeth are spears and arrows, whose tongues are sharp swords. Be exalted, O God, above the heavens. Let your glory be over all the earth. I was thinking when I was reading the portion there in 1 Samuel about being in that cave with all those people, and in this psalm he says, I lie among ravenous beasts. Well, surely he's referring to all the enemies who are coming after him. But as he's lying there in that cave, lying down, perhaps through the cave entrance he can see the glory of the heavens in that night Judean sky with the stars twinkling. He's lying down and he's thinking, amidst all this, I'm thinking of God. I'm thinking how great he is, the great creator, the one who has purposes for me. And he's moved. He's moved to not only dwell on the magnificence of God, but also to break out into praise and worship to this wonderful God. I don't know if he sang aloud. Perhaps there was enough noise going on around him. Perhaps he could do that. He sang out the praises of God. Listen to how he goes on in verse 7. My heart is steadfast, O God. My heart is steadfast. I will sing and make music. When I'm looking up at the night sky, perhaps I'm thinking, how great is our God. How wonderful he is. And how tender are his mercies. He knows about me and my situation. And he's God, and there's nothing impossible for him. I will sing and make music. Awake my soul. Awake harp and lyre. I will awaken the dawn. So here he is in the darkness of his own situation, and perhaps the darkness of the night. This psalm is set. He thinks of God. He thinks how majestic he is. He starts to worship. He starts to sing his praises. And you know what happens when we do that? When we think of God. When we sing his praises, when we worship. And perhaps that's the last thing we want to do. But when we worship God, do you know what happens? The darkness lifts. And it's like a dawn. The light is shining now, and the glory of who God is, and we are his children. So there's lessons here for us, isn't it? We might not be in a Dulham's cave surrounded by problems, but perhaps there's problems there and difficulties. And we're wondering, like, according to God, how has it come to this? God had promised David the throne. He had purposes for him. How has it come to this? And perhaps we think like that sometimes. How has it come to this? You know, we need to lift our eyes to the heavens, to think of how wonderful God is, how glorious and majestic he is. And when we think and meditate on him, surely our hearts respond in worship, true worship, and praise to him. And what happens? The darkness lifts. It's like as if our praise awakens the dawn, and the darkness is dispelled. And we see things now in their proper perspective. That we are weak, but he is strong, and there's nothing impossible for him to do. Well, the Lord bless his word to us today, and God bless you. Amen.